Hi, today I'm going to tell you a little bit about the Merge Cube. The Merge Cube is something that's been around for about 6 years, but it is something that is very new to me. The Merge Cube is an augmented reality tool that takes whatever it is you're looking at in an augmented reality form and puts it right into the palm of your hand. Just as a refresher, augmented reality is when you can take something that's digital and not real and put it into your real tactile world. You can think of this kind of like when you're shopping at Target.com or on Amazon and they say, would you like to see this in your space? It's not really there. You didn't already get the rug and put it in your room, but you can see what it would look like if you did. That is what the Merge Cube does. My original interest in Merge Cube came from its ability to take science instruction in the classroom and really bring it to life. Not only are students being able to have hands-on experiences with different items that they normally would not be able to have hands-on experiences with, but you're really bringing science curriculum to life in a different way. Merge Cubes are available on Amazon for about $30 a piece. My district actually happened to have some that are available to be borrowed and checked out, so that worked out great. And this is now something that I'm incorporating as a regular part of instruction in my classroom. You should also know that in order to get started with Merge, you're going to need to download 2 apps. Depending on how devices in your school work, this is something you may have to talk to someone involved with tech at your school to get done. You're going to need Merge Object Viewer and Merge Explorer. There are many, many other apps that can work with Merge Cubes, but those are the 2 that we're going to talk about today. If you're borrowing a cube from like a district or the tech department at your school, chances are they're not going to be in the big same box packaging as if you ordered it. This Merge Cube stays in its kind of little protective shell. And when I take it out, I have this hard foam cube. And as you can see, there are different designs on each side of it. These are the codes that the camera is going to read to actually make the AR happen. Kind of think of it like a QR code. The camera's reading it and it's giving it information. In my classroom, I have really enjoyed using Merge EDU. The free trial is what I'm going to show you today so that you see exactly what you would get if you signed up for it. I'm also going to show you later on what types of things you wouldn't get in the free version, just so you know. There's still some great activities in the free version, so don't just steer away because it's not all free. Additionally, Merge Online has some great opportunities to actually print your own Merge Cubes. So if you don't have the finances or a district that's supplying some for you to borrow, you can actually go and print out Merge Cubes. Definitely would recommend using cardstock paper, something a little sturdy, but you can still have the same experience for free with the free version of the app as you get with the foam cubes. Foam is definitely a little more durable. If it's something you're using regularly, might be worth the investment. All right, let's get started. Let's first dive into the Merge Explorer app. This app is the one that kind of lets students hold different collections of objects in their hands. Merge groups together items for you so that if you're studying the food web, for example, there's a whole series of items students can look at already together. One of the things studied in 3rd grade science is the solar system. Today, let's take a little look at the solar system with our Merge Cube. There's an introduction and an activity. There's also an activity quiz, and students can choose their grade level to kind of guide some of the level of information they should be getting from their experience with the Merge Cube. Another thing that's great about the apps within the Merge system is that most of them offer a read aloud component. I think this is great, especially when you're working with younger students in the primary grades or students who are learning language. We're going to go ahead and click on our directions for Activity 1.
In this experience, tap on individual planets to expand them and see more information. Take your time to explore. Read the pop-up information panels about all the objects you come across. How many moons can you find?
So it gives us an activity. We're looking for how many moons we can find throughout the solar system. Now, you could definitely create your own activities within whatever LMS it is that you're using in your school, but it is handy that Merge has them already created within their app. So let's get started. My camera is on. I have chosen Cube as my mode. When I put the cube in front, it reads the code, and now I am holding the solar system. The screen allows me a little bit of interactivity. I can zoom in, but if I'm going to move it, I'm going to actually have to physically move the cube with my hand back and forth. The next thing that you can do is you can tap on, just like they said, a planet to learn more, right? Well, now we have Jupiter. I can click on information to learn more about it. To get everything to go away, oops, didn't mean to click that many times, you're going to re-click on the center of that item. Very honestly, this took me a little while to figure out, so it's a good thing to know in advance. So I have Jupiter, and if I zoom out a little bit, I can start to complete my activity counting the moons around Jupiter. I can tap Jupiter to put it back into the solar system and move on to another planet. One of the things that's pretty cool about Merge is that you can stamp the item, which means if you need to look at it without holding it, you can put a stamp on the screen. And that gives you some of the same interactivity that you have with the cube, but it frees up your hands. This would be great if you're asking your students to take notes, draw a scientific diagram, something else on paper where they need their hands to work with. In your options, you can clear the scene, and whatever they have stamped goes back away. To return to your main screen, you're going to hit the arrow at the top. There we go. And that will take you back here where you were first introduced to your activity. As we mentioned, there is an activity quiz section. We're going to go with 3rd to 5th grade. Very honestly, I think those are some of the grade levels that Merge works best with. There are questions. There are questions that you can have read aloud. If you get them wrong, they will tell you, so you can go back and try again. It's a great way to have students be accountable for what it is they're learning with Merge. Whenever you finish, you can head back to this home screen to check out what other collections there are. Whenever you're finished, you can go back to this home screen so you can see all of the collections that there are. Just to name a few that I think are really interesting, Galactic Explorer is one of my favorites. Human Anatomy. I also very much enjoy The Frog's Life. Life cycles are huge throughout elementary school science. I also very much enjoyed Conservation and Transfer of Energy. I feel like that's one of those concepts that's a little bit difficult to really understand without some kind of hands-on experiences. So this takes students through different experiments using robots, crank activities, and sunlight to really get more of a grasp on how energy can be transferred. Another great Merge Explore collection is Use the Force. This is one I especially love because these are great ways to bring kind of an abstract concept into a more tactile experience for students. So we're talking about force and energy to move things, as far as like exerting a force to stop an object, all these different types of things. So this one actually has 4 different activities within the collection. This allows students different experiences with energy, force, and motion, and helps them understand the different levels of that concept. Just to show you some of the interactivity, sometimes these things might be sitting on a desk somewhere, but to have a class set, or even just 6 or 7 of them in your classroom, would be pretty tough. So we're going to look at our controls for this. Tap the button to step through how Newton's cradle works. Okay, start. So there's the max potential energy, decreasing potential energy, increasing kinetic energy. It's highlighting the different parts kinetic energy transferred of the process. Energy reaches the end. And if you notice, the marbles are lighting up to show the energy transfer. I just feel like that's a great way to show students what's actually happening. Then in the next activity, they're actually given the option of how much force to exert on the items. So there are your controls. Tap and hold to pull the ball back, release the button to let it go. So you could do a light touch, or you could add a significant amount of force. Again, this is just one of those ways that some of those more abstract science concepts can be brought to life in a simple and easy to manage way inside your classroom. Now that we've taken a look at Merge Explore, let's take a look at the object viewer. Out of Merge Explore and Merge Object Viewer, I actually really love Merge Object Viewer. I feel like it's definitely a little more simplistic, but the detail that students are able to look at some items in goes above and beyond anything that I really thought was going to happen. So these are the collections within Object Viewer in the Merge EDU platform. All about plants, anatomy of the brain, ear, ancient Egypt, animal classification. Like I said, it goes beyond science. You see some of that with ancient Egypt, architecture. But I have used this the most for science in my classroom. One of my favorite things within Object Viewer is the development of a chicken. I know in my classroom in years past, we have raised chicks, and it is quite an experience. It is one that I'm really glad my students have had in the past, but our school has stepped away from doing that for great reasons. Merge Cube allows students to have a similar experience, seeing that life cycle, seeing that growth and development within the egg in an augmented reality version. So let's check out development of a chicken. Examine the stages of a chicken's development as it grows inside a fertilized egg from day 1 all the way until the day it hatches on day 21. So you choose what it is you're going to look at and examine. Again, make sure you're in cube mode for that AR experience. Scan your cube. And now I am learning about all the different parts of the egg. Again, I can tap on any of them for the definition of that vocabulary. And then I can go back to the collection to get to another step. Just to show you some differentiation in the actual images. Here would be our chick starting to develop. And if you're ever unsure of where you're at, you can just click on the info and it will pull up a little caption of what's happening. Merge is also great about extending resources so that you can continue that learning experience for your students. And quite honestly, this view of the development of a chicken is better imaging than what they were getting watching the eggs develop in our classroom. Because even with the viewing lights, we were not able to see that type of image of the chick developing in the egg. Always know that the shell's on the back still. Now heading back into our collection, I also love how Merge doesn't just stop with kind of the anatomical images for students to explore. There's a lot of other things that go into the care and raising of chicks. Students are able to still see the incubators so that they know what it would be like if they actually needed to raise chicks in a classroom without, a hen to keep them warm. and even goes into some of the other like plastic chicken feeders, the heat lamps. So it becomes a very well-rounded learning experience for your students. Another great component of Merge Object Viewer is the meteorology section. Throughout elementary science, meteorology and weather is discussed at length. And we talk about these tools and instruments that meteorologists use that are very hard to get students to have a more realistic understanding of. Sure, we make models of them in class and we look at things online, videos. But when you're talking to a student about an anemometer, it's pretty fun to be able to let them actually see one in action in front of them. Identifies all the different parts, gives you a great definition, a link to an online resource. Like with the other things, you're able to zoom in and out of it, check it out from different angles. You can also change what you're looking at from within that item. I personally prefer going back to that page that has all of my objects listed out. I like that big picture view. But once you're in, let's say we're looking at a wind vane. Let it pick up the code. So I'm looking at my wind vane. I've gotten some more information about it, and I've decided that I'm ready to see something else. In the object viewer, you can click the picture of the object you're viewing and then switch to something else. Again, kind of personal preference. I prefer going back to that main screen. But I do love all of the weather tools and how it allows students to actually see what it is you're talking about. Okay. Then we can exit back out. Again, ocean, deep, solar system, phases of the moon, renewable resources. There are lots of different collections. Oh, the Simple Machines, a great collection that I love to look at. There are lots of different collections of things within Object Viewer. Again, there's a little bit less interactivity than in Merge Explorer. Merge Explorer has the activities set up more like experiments. Object Viewer is just a hands-on approach to look at those objects in the palm of your hand. As a reminder, what I was showing you today is what's available in the free Merge EDU trial. Also, there are paid versions. You can get, I think it's one license for $9.99 a month. That's kind of up to you, what resources you have, how you want to go about that. There are options for class sets and school logins. So those are always things you can look into if that's what fits your needs. But I can also tell you that there are a ton of ways you can use this in your classroom regularly for free. That being said, I told you I would tell you what parts are for free. The Merge Explorer, that was those more interactive things that we looked at for a while. There are 3 versions in the free Merge Explorer: Mr. Body, Terraforming Earth, and Galactic Explorer. Galactic Explorer is the one that we looked at together. There are about 13 different collections in the Merge Object Viewer. That includes kind of their featured objects, what's fun and cool to look at. Also genetics, human anatomy, our solar system again. Those meteorology tools that we looked at are not in there, but that is something I wanted to show you because I feel like it's such a great interaction. I really support the use of the Merge Cube. It makes me a little curious and interested for what's to come for us with AR and VR in the classroom. I know some schools do have some VR devices and headsets available. My school is not one of them. So this was a tool that I could use, that I am using, and I wanted to share it with you so that you could find ways to share it in your classroom also. I think that the Merge Cube does a really great job of holding students accountable for their own learning within science too, because you're going beyond just giving them a labeled diagram or some notes to take off of the screen, right? You're offering them a more interactive experience so that they can just, I don't know, have a more varied experience with some of those science activities. And again, so much of science is better when you can touch it, feel it, see it happening. It's really going to stick with you more. Thanks for listening. Thanks for taking part in this Merge video today. I would love to hear your thoughts. Get in touch with me if this is something that you use in your classroom. I would love to hear how it's going for you. Thanks.